Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Welcome to today's lovely eyeshadow look. I was inspired to do this look from somebody that I saw on Instagram. I was just enchanted by the colors that she used and I really wanted to do them myself. So it turns out that I had the exact palette she used and I took her look and I made my own. So if you want to see that, don't go anywhere. I'll be honest guys, I wasn't planning on doing another inspired by video quite so soon after the last one I did, but I saw this look on Instagram and I was absolutely captivated by it. I have wanted to do it since I saw it, and I thought today would be a perfect day to do it because I think it's going to work really well with my shirt. So here's the funny story. I went into my palette collection to try to figure out which palettes I was going to use. Now, on Instagram, I only saw the look. I didn't even read the caption because it's not written in English. So I ended up pulling out the Surge palette from Blend Bunny. I realized that not only did all of the colors seem to be present in the Surge palette, but upon closer inspection, the original artist is in fact using the Surge palette. Yeah, so that's what we're going to use today. The Surge palette from Blend Bunny. It's actually pretty straightforward. It's basically these colors right here and deepening and then some neon. It's really pretty and I'm excited. I already primed my eyes with the Glamlight Icing Primer. Everything that I use is linked down below in the description box. So I guess technically I'm just following her tutorial actually, but I'll be sure to link her Instagram channel below, as well as if I can, I'll link the exact video, because if you want to see the same tutorial in a much shorter time frame, you can just click that. But in the Surge palette, I'm starting with the shade Maybe. This is a Singe EO3. I remember these mattes being really pigmented, so I tapped in a little bit into the pan and I'm going in lightly. This is kind of my transition color, even though it's quite mid-tone. I'm laying it in my crease and then I'm gonna gently pull it out a little bit. I don't want it to go all the way up to my eyebrows. My eye looks are not as, I prefer them not to be quite as heavy as my inspiration picture. We also have a different eye shape, and her whole face, she's beautiful, but she has a fuller face, you know, it's a different shape. She has fuller lips, she has larger eyelids, and I think they're more round as well. It's just a matter of working with your own body and finding what works for you and adapting whatever your inspiration may be to what you personally like to wear. So I think that this is fine. And I'll do the same thing, the same color on the lower lash line with quite a small blending brush. But this is the lowest of the lower lash line colors. Everything from here is just going to get tighter and tighter. So this is going to be the one that's peeking out the bottom. And look at the difference when you buff out the color as opposed to when you lay it down in a more condensed area. I dipped a little bit more into that color and I'm just intensifying only here at the crease. And now it's time to go into something smaller. I had another brush here somewhere and I don't know where it landed. It doesn't matter. This is a Blend Bunny before. It's a little bit denser, a little bit thicker, a little bit stubbier as well. And I will pick up Taboo and lay this in my whole crease. It's quite a colorful but still very smoky look. So we are a couple weeks from moving now. We're going to be moving in less than 2 weeks. And I've shifted my camera angle a little bit because over here is just a pile of boxes. I decided to leave the picture on the wall behind me because I'm going to wrap it in a blanket before we go. And it's not doing anyone any harm, just sitting on its nail in the wall. I'll take that down a day or two before we leave. I'm doing good with packing. I have a system for packing because we've moved about average every 3 years since we got married. So I have a system. Somebody asked me to explain it, so briefly I will. Basically, I have like a master booklet and I give every room of the house an abbreviation. Now, it helps if I know the property that we're moving to. For example, I know that this new house has a garage, but we don't currently have a garage. It doesn't matter what we currently have. It matters, if possible, what we're going to. That, of course, is not always possible. You might be moving to a new city and not have a home established yet or like lined up, but generally I have an idea of the space that we're moving to. So I label the rooms based on what we're going to, if I can. And as I pack, say for example, kitchen is going to be K. And the first things I pack for the kitchen are the appliances that we don't use every day. So I'll write K1 and then I'll just list most of the things that are in that box. It's not exact like every single item, because sometimes it's just a category, you know, crafts. I don't have to list pipe cleaners and glue and like it's just crafts, right? But for the kitchen, I might need more specific things, like here's the apple corer and here's the blender, you know, things that I might specifically need. So I'll be a bit more precise in that list. And then I write K1 on the box and I put it away. It's, you know, it's packed up, it's done. But what this does is it helps me stay organized while I'm packing, and it also helps me stay organized when I'm unpacking, because you never have the ability to unpack everything in one day, of course. So if I need the blender, I go to my kitchen page in my master list and I find, oh, blender's in K1, and then I go find K1, the box, and I get the blender. That's the gist of it. Honestly, it's not terribly complicated, but it's a good system for me, and it helps me stay organized and kind of on top of things. Now, oh, you know what? I'm going to put Taboo more on my lid, I think. I need to bring in a shimmer. I know she brings in a shimmer. I actually haven't thought at all about a shimmer. We'll see. Now let's go into the black in this palette. It's called Vinyl. Same brush, I guess, and I will just deepen this outer area. Again, really smoking everything out. So I'm making good progress with the packing, I think. And I've had a few people come over and take my children to the park or something while I pack, which has been the most helpful thing, because while I'm comfortable with the process, it is really hard to do with a toddler on one leg and a baby clinging to the other. I mean, I'm literally tripping over the children. So it's been a great blessing when someone says, hey, let me take your kids for 2 hours and you get done whatever you can. That's been great, and I really appreciate it. I want to do the lower lash line now. I'm just going to take the next two colors and put them in order on the lower lash line with quite a small and pinched brush. I'm fascinated by how different the colors look when you don't blend them out. I feel like it almost looks as if there are different colors on my lower lash line. And I keep looking back at the palette, like, did I make a mistake? Did I dip into the wrong shade? But no, I don't think so. It's just the difference between blending and buffing away versus laying it down in a very concentrated way. She smoked out the lower lash line completely. Like, she brought the black all the way in. So I think I'll do that, even though usually I don't. Oh, it's so dramatic though. Usually I bring the darkest color of the lower lash line only about 1/3 of the way in on the outer corner, and I leave the rest gradient lighter and lighter. But that's okay. We can have an exception to the rule, right? Let's get now it's time for the neon orange, the star of the show. Although this is pretty, but the orange is gonna just pop in such a brilliant way. So I'm gonna lay that here. I got some fallout. You do get fallout with neons, which is fine. It's not like I do my face makeup first, like a lot of people do. Now, by the way, I used white as a primer color because I wanted particularly the neon to really pop. Now, the more I blend it into the berry tones, the less poppy it'll be. So I'm laying it down and blending it as a base, as it needs to be blended, I think. But then I'll dip back into the color and lay it right on top and just try to leave it unbothered. I actually think I'm getting some patchiness right here. Quite sure of it, even though I don't have my contacts in. I can see that the shadow's pulling away. So let me change my plan quickly. I didn't mean change my plan. I just meant change my tack or my approach. I took a napkin and I just wiped the inner corner a bit because there was some fallout and whatnot from the other shadows. So I'm going back into my primer, which again is white. I'm going in just a little bit. And I'm going to lay that down here. And then I think buff it a bit. This might be a mistake. I don't know. Of course, my primer brush is picking up some of the shadows, but yeah, that's okay. I'll just, again, brushes can be cleaned. I'm wiping it on this napkin on my knee. Napkins can be cleaned. Okay, so now I have kind of a fresher area there. I'll try to keep the other side cleaner when I work in this space. But let me go back into that very small brush. See if I can get this orange to apply better. I don't want to touch it too much because I was getting patchiness, but I think that's better. Now, I will say that what my inspiration photo or inspiration reel, what it shows is that she also cleaned out a space over here and she did a wing in this same bright orange out here. I'm not going to do that today. I don't want to. I don't have time to. We'll see. We'll see. But now it's time to pick a shimmer. I actually need to go to a different palette to get a shimmer. It's not that the Surge palette doesn't have shimmers. It's just that I have other shimmers that I like better, honestly. The shimmers in the Surge are good. They're not as good as some of my other brands, and they're very standard. Like the undertones are not very exciting. So if I'm remembering correctly, I didn't actually pay that much attention, but I think that in the reel she goes into maybe the Lands of Enchantment palette for a shimmer, which would mean, and it was like a light blue purple kind of thing. I have no idea what I want to use for a shimmer. So I pulled out, I was looking at my collection. I'm like, I could pull out 10, 15 different palettes and just have this little swatch party. I pulled out 4 because at some point you just have to pick something, right? So I've got the Planet Spirit palette from Oden's Eye. There's this one right here. I just talked about in a previous video how I used tape to remove the hard pan from this pan and how I was going to try to avoid using my finger because, yeah, I'm a mess. Here's Fauna. Where's my mirror? Where's my mirror? I mean, oh, look at how fiery and beautiful and pinky goldy orange that is. Of course, it would be absolutely beautiful, right? It would be beautiful. Let's see what else we've got. Again, I only pulled 4 palettes. I could have pulled a lot more. In my Wonderland palette from Cosmic Beauty, I'm going to take this one here. This is more along the lines, I think, of what she used. Kind of like a white blue sort of purple theme. Okay, this one is definitely much more icy. There's actually not as much white blue in it or blue purple in it as I expected, so I think that one's out. So many choices. There's Elf Wish in the Merry Christmas palette from Oden's Eye. Now we're talking, right? Look, green, gold, pink. This one would match so nicely, but this one would be different. And I have Sickly Sweet from Blend Bunny. I thought I would pick up Crying Sparkles, which is the blue shimmer. Now this one might actually be closest to what she used. I don't think I want to do that one though, because I think this one's going to start clashing with my shirt. So what about Cupcake? What's Cupcake? Ah, it's not interesting enough. Pretty, but not interesting enough. What was the, oh, there was the one in Planet Spirit that I keep saying I want to pair with other colors. This one, Anomalia, which of course is very, oh, see, that's amazing, but it's too much. It's too close to what I already have. It would be pretty, it would be so pretty, but it wouldn't stand out enough. So I think I'm down to these two. I've got Elf Wish from Merry Christmas, and then I've got Fauna. Let's go with Elf Wish. I'm going to lay it down with a brush. I'm going to lay it down dry. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That was a good choice. I think I'm just going to keep it dry. To spray it would make it a little bit more metallic and precise, but I actually want it dry because I want the shimmers and the sparkles to disperse a little bit. Now I think I will actually take Wonderland and pick up the shade that's called Wonderland. Again, dry brush. Just gonna put that right on the center. I wanted to liven it up a little bit. So I don't know from here how I'm varying my look from my inspiration picture, but that's okay. There we go. That's the whole look. I did make 1 or 2 little modifications. I decided that I wanted to bring in more of a shimmer along the lines of my inspiration photo, which was like a blue purple. So I actually grabbed this shade here, Frost, from the Wonderland palette. I just dabbed it right kind of between the 2 shimmers. It brings in a slightly cooler element, which I think is really interesting. On the rest of my face, I just have some concealer, and then a bit of blush from ColourPop. That shade is called Matchmaker. On my lips, I am, well, to finish my eyes, of course, I have black in my waterline and mascara. I decided not to do anything else on my eyes because they're pretty intense. And that's also why I didn't do graphic liner or anything else to add to the look. And then on my lips, I have the Italia Deluxe Ultra Fine Lip Liner in the shade 1057 Black Currant. And I pretty much filled in my lips with that, but I topped it with the NYX This Is Milky Gloss. Color is Mango Lassie. That's everything on my face. I do not have a highlighter or anything else because I thought that I wanted to play into the depth and the smokiness and the drama and not really go for something that was brightening and highlighting. I just wanted it to be really intense. So I think the look is beautiful. I do think that on the whole, I've recreated my inspiration pretty well. I know that we had different shimmers going on, but I really like both of the final looks actually. And I think I did a good job of tailoring her look to my own preferences by not going completely the way that she did, but making it my own. Love the color combination. This reminds me of something else I've done with the Merry Christmas palette using these deep cranberry tones, which might be why I added in that bluish shimmer, because I wanted it to be different from something I'd done before, even though the inner corner is quite different from whatever I had done with Merry Christmas. It also is reminding me of something I did with the Naughty palette from BH Cosmetics, again with the cranberry crease. Beautiful color, lots of fun to play with, and it's really fun to pair different things with cranberry because cranberry is an interesting color. I think it works with a lot of different skin tones. It also works really well with warmer tones, but I think that cranberry can be versatile in that you can pair it with cooler tones as well, really unexpectedly, and get very unique color combinations and final results. It's fun to play with cranberry, so I think this looks absolutely, I mean, it's fantastic, really. I would love to hear what your thoughts are. Of course, I always enjoy chatting with you guys. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here, for clicking on my channel, for giving me a little piece of your day. I hope you've enjoyed it. Do remember to check the description box for the original Instagram account and also the reel where she did this eye look, and you can see how hers was a little different from mine. If you like really, really dramatic, intense, colorful, bold, and interesting eyeshadow looks, like interesting color combinations, I highly recommend following her over on Instagram because she's great. Anyway, I hope they'll consider liking and subscribing to my channel before you go. If you like this content and you want to see more, I do tend to upload several videos a week, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!